Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and today we're going to be talking all about Rogue in Doom Raid Mutant boss notes. So, I think a lot of people, now that Rogue has been out, have been wondering, how good is Rogue in Doom Raid Mutant? Well, I don't think that she's very good in the regular nodes, but where she does and can shine is in the Doom Raid 2 boss nodes. Now, this is not a video about Doom Raid 1 or anything like that. This is Doom Raid 2, and for those who don't know, I do run Doom Raid 2.2. So that's the kind of footage that we're going to be seeing here. I did record a couple of runs of the boss node. I want to say up front that it was a little bit mixed, but that's only because of her not having red stars, not having the payout yet from the event, and I think that's going to be super important. But we're going to take a look at the footage. I have 3 different attempts that I did. One which was the winning one, and why we got there and how we got there, and what we're kind of looking at. So if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. Okay, so here is run number 1. And this one was probably the worst one. It was pretty short. So this is me running Doom Raid 2.2 Mutant Boss. As you can see, this is my team. This isn't my team here. I'm flipping it around to my Astonishing X-Man. I probably should have run Beast, swap Beast and Iceman around. I don't know why. I normally do. I don't have it loaded up that way. So I put Rogue into Kitty Pryde's spot. And this first run was a bit awkward. Now, I just want to pause this really quick. I do have a Gear Tier 16 Rogue, and she is pretty much maxed out, level 86. So I have her a little bit higher than 85 as well. 3 yellow, 0 red, because we can't get red stars for her at the time of this recording. Some of the problems, for those of you who run Doom Raid 2 Mutant Boss Node, know it's pretty challenging as it is. And there's a lot of characters in here that can really F you up. And that's exactly what happened. So I think I got really unlucky here. And that I got hit, Jubilee got hit by Baron Zemo. And it chained around to every single character. That was probably one of the worst luck I could have. Because sometimes it actually, he goes into Bishop because it doesn't actually clear his taunt for that. So that's a bit of a pain here. But I do go in, I try to get the blind here on Jubilee. You know, I try to just, get some blinds, clear some... offense downs as well. I for some reason I went into the special here rather than going for the basic, and we put some debuffs here. So I mean, this isn't the problem yet. This is the problem. I took a huge, I don't know how much damage that was, but it was a lot. It was basically enough to almost kill me here with Kestrel's ult. So that was super unlucky. And then I get done in by Taskmaster's ult. So you can see there, boom. Rogue is already dead. That's a bit of a problem. I can't continue, so I bailed out of the match because, well, that wasn't good, and it didn't get me to where I needed to be. So we're going to open up the second video, which is attempt number 2, and see how this one went. Now, this one, I did not die in the same way, but it wasn't really the best run either. So we're going to take a look and just skip ahead a little bit here through the loading. And when we get through, so this you see there. So right away, Baron Zemo gets hit by Bishop because he's forced to ult Bishop, which is fine, which is good. That's probably a lot better than him chaining around to everyone like he did on the last attempt here. Now I go in, just try to add some blinds or clear some debuffs. So that's why I hit Kestrel here to try and get rid of the offense up. And that's a pretty big thing too as well, because Kestrel and Corvus Glaive and Taskmaster both start with the offense up. Was able to flip the offense up on Corvus, but not on Taskmaster here, so that was a little bit of a problem too. But I saw that if you see here that Jubilee has the assist, so I try to land that blind on Jubilee to get the blind there for her ultimate. And now we do get to Rogue's special, finally. Right? Okay, so this is good. Except we didn't land the debuff. So I have a Skirmisher ISO, I have Skirmisher Blue 3, and the focus is just not enough. So she gets bonus focus in Cosmic Crucible only, not in any other game mode. So without having those upgrades from the payout, from the event, having the red stars and the higher stars, so on and so forth, I only landed 2 of my debuffs. So we didn't even land the good ones, and this means that I would have been screwed anyways, because he'd eventually time platform and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So that was pretty much the end of this. I knew right away that I didn't land any of my debuffs, that this was going to be a problem. So we're going to move on to attempt number 3, where things did go better, which is good, right? You know, but it took me 3 attempts to get here, which is why it's a bit of mixed success. I think once we get the payout for her, it's going to be a lot better. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. And so we try to flip more debuffs, flip more of these offense ups into debuffs, and we do flip everyone, which is good, you know, for the damage, for taking the damage, and I try to land, you know, as many slows as I can. I try to primary target Doom so that it gives me that guaranteed hit. Now what's here? Yes, so you can see here, I land almost everything. I land everything except for the ability block. But that's okay. As long as the trauma is there, that's what matters. As long as the trauma, you know, the more debuffs, the better. But as long as the trauma lands, that's the most important thing here. You get a shit ton of buffs from Rogue, and that's good. I evade, I dodge some of this. I have taunt, which means that, yeah, I'm going to be taking some damage here with Rogue, but with all of those buffs, with the safeguard, I'm basically guaranteed. And now I go in for the stun here on Dr. Doom, and that's super important, because as long as the trauma's there, he can't cleanse that stun. We also go in for the stun on Thanos, because he has that Striker ISO, and is a bit of a pain in the ass. At this point, I kind of just go through the motions and try to do as much damage as I can. But one thing is that I think that I didn't really know, you know, I could have gone a bit quicker on BlueStacks. Right now, the game is a bit laggy, so that's one thing. We're kind of gonna watch what happens here and how we eventually get Dr. Doom down, but this is super important. So if you don't land the ability block with Rogue, with the special, you do have to use Jubilee's ultimate in order to stun Dr. Doom. And that way it keeps him stunned. It's only 1 turn, but, you know, that's still worth doing. So it avoids him from obviously shaking it off, and it's going to avoid him from getting turn bar when he goes under 50%. You can see that he's under 50%, and he didn't get his turn bar because he's stunned, which is good. So he's kind of out for the count for a while, and, you know, it's not really that hard to clear him at this point. What ends up being a little bit of a challenge is the timer. The timer has always, in my opinion, been a little bit of a challenge here on this node. As long as you can land those debuffs with Rogue on Doom, the good thing about it is it's unavoidable. So even if Taskmaster were to use his ult and he were to hit Rogue with that, it wouldn't really matter because she could just go right through it. She can be blind and she's still going to land her special, which is really, really good. So we kill Doom, we get to the next wave, and you know, it's relatively fine. I just go through the motions, you know, killing each person. Sometimes the Falcons are a bit of a pain in the ass. For anyone who's run this node knows that it's a bit of a challenge still, but you know, we've gotten through like the main bit, which is really just getting through Dr. Doom. So that's the most important thing here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but you can see how my timer is like ticking down. I think at one point, like, you really need to know when to auto and when not to. And I think, unfortunately, that maybe this will get better when Rogue is higher stars. She's hitting for more damage, like for her alt AoE. But right now, I'm still a little bit low on damage. I could be clicking a bit slower than I could have because of BlueStacks. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't end up finishing the node. I come really effing close. Honestly, I think it's close enough that I would call this a one-shot. You know, had I just sped it up and put it on auto, you know, at a much earlier time when I knew I was comfortable enough that I should have done that, then maybe I would have cleared this a little bit faster. All of my characters, my Astonishing X-Men, are Gear Tier 15, level 85. Maybe I can get some more damage out if I, you know, if I level them up to 86. I don't know. I'm not willing to really Gear Tier 16 them at this stage, so there's not a whole lot more I can do in terms of pushing out the damage, I think. So it's really just knowing about when to auto on the node and when not to. And you can see here, I basically clear it, but I don't. So as long as you're getting in those skills with Rogue, that's the most important thing. I do time out, and then I just decide to auto sim it and hope for the best. And that's really where we end here. And I just wanted to skip ahead just to show you that, because I was like, am I gonna lose with, you know, half health characters with 3 enemies left? I really hope not. Turns out I actually lose a character. I lose Bishop for whatever reason, but I do get the node cleared. So this took me a couple of attempts to get it right, and a lot of this is because Rogue, even though she has the blue skirmisher, her focus still really isn't up to par to be able to land, at least on Doom 2.2 Doctor Doom. So there is a bit of a challenge there. I think once we get the payout, things will be a little bit better, but I think she's a definite better replacement than Omega Red, because the problem with Omega Red is if he gets hit by Taskmaster's blind, then he's kind of screwed in a lot of ways, unless you want to run Emma Frost or something like that to you know, deter from that. But otherwise, Rogue is a really good inclusion, but I think we're going to have to wait about 2 weeks until we get the extra shards, till we get the red stars, and whenever that's going to become available, I don't know. You know, as of recording, there's still no red stars for her, so I don't know if it's going to come out before the end of the event like it did for Morgan Le Fay. We'll have to wait and see about that, but I just wanted to share this with you really quick for people who are curious about whether or not you can use Rogue in Doom 2 Mutant Boss. You can, but I would caution you, and definitely make sure you're running the Skirmisher ISOs. If you're running at a lower difficulty like Doom 2 or 2.1, you'll probably have a bit of an easier time than I am, so just wanted to let you guys know. And that's it. That's the video. So until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.